Alright, it seems I'm live. Hello everybody, welcome back to Safety Arcade. I am CriticalCyd. I'm going to be running Sonic Colors, and hopefully in like 55 minutes or less. To make sure that happens, I've given myself an extra incentive and already ordered pizza, so I need to basically be faster than the delivery guy. That's the goal today. Be faster than pizza. Alright. So, I'm going to be doing Shuttle. It's just a challenge mode. And throughout this entire challenge mode, I'm going to be getting a lot of lives. The game just bombards you with lives. And where usually people do like for every death I donate, I'm going to do the opposite. For every life I will donate. And I encourage you to do the same. To give you a rough estimation, I'm going to be getting anywhere from like 50 to 70 lives at the end. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but to make sure I don't hurt my wallet too much, I do have to eat this month. I'm going to keep it at 50 cents per life. If you feel like doing that, or even higher, or even lower, feel free to join in. A little bit of a donation incentive as we go. At the very least, I'll be doing it. So... chat, remind me on at the final boss to actually check my life count. Otherwise, I'll go back into the VOD. Well, anyway, let's get going. Alright, welcome to Sonic Colors. This is a mix of a 3D and a 2D Sonic game. It also features the boost system. A boost in this game I get specifically from these boost wisps, which can be from capsules, from robots, stuff like that. I only have so much of it, so I have to make sure I spend it well. Now there's a whole bunch of moves that you can expect from Sonic, like a homing attack, and in this style of game he usually also has a stomp. In this particular game he has a double jump as well, that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're just kind of gonna keep going. Some 3D now, some 2D coming up. Or if I do things right, some 2D not coming up. Because with the wonderful glitches that we know and love, I can actually skip that 2D sections entirely. So that little jump over the ramp was in order to skip the trigger that would cause me to go from 3D into 2D. And then I used the laser wisp, which I'm going to be talking about more later, don't worry, plenty of time. To skip the entire rest of the 2D section and just go straight past it. Let's make sure I don't have the timer selected so that I don't accidentally try to split. I don't have splits up. Well, yeah. So this is Shuttle. It goes through every single story stage. And it also makes sure that I keep my boost in between the stages, and I have every single wisp unlocked from the start. These whips are nice little powers. This one, of course, can drill through the ground, and I call B to drill faster. And there's a whole bunch of other ones, like the laser one. Laser is pretty interesting in 3D. It shoots you forward, and you can aim it left and right. And then in the 2D section, you can aim it up and down only. So, some of these skips it's particularly useful for. And it also redirects you when you hit these diamonds. But yeah, laser one, that's definitely a powerful one. Alright. So yeah, so here I had like half of my boost meter left. If I were to run any percent, I would lose all of that as I move throughout the second stage. But now I get to keep all of it, which means I get to go boosting right away. Doesn't mean that there is less boost management it does mean that there's less boost management in the run, but it also means that in a lot of situations I can actually plan my boost out far further. And if I, for instance, take an unintentional death, I will have less boost, and I will then go slower in some of the later stages. Alright, so here is another 3D and 2D glitch. Once again, breaking out, jumping around the 2D trigger. Which means I can now jump around things because I have 3D physics in the 2D section. Which can be quite scary because the 2D section is quite thin. Oh. There we go, bouncing the robot heads to get up there. A bit faster than taking the spring. Now I was fortunate enough to actually grab the laser wisp that was there. It's pretty hard to grab, so definitely fortunate on that regard. Otherwise there was another one that's only slightly slower that I could have grabbed here. Right, so that is the two scariest parts, the two tricks done in this particular world. Let's talk about the structure of the worlds. So we have a total of 6 worlds. I am not counting Terminal Velocity as a world, it is an auto-scroller that is tacked on at the end. And every world has 6 stages and 1 boss fight. The stages, as you can see, can be very short. Sometimes they reuse the same assets of a different stage. But it at least make sure that you always have 6 stages to play in. Here we have another Wisp that we have not seen thus far. This is Spike. Spike unlocks Sonic's Spin Dash ability from other games, and it can also cling to walls and ceilings, and it can also absolutely ruin my day. But we'll get to that in some of the other stages where I have to use Spike. Spike is a word. Alright. I'll do a nice little ramp jump right here, go over. When we attack these balloons, use the laser right here to go straight into the gold ring. Ba-bam! Especially the first world moves by really fast. The stages are shorter, and, well, even then we still have ways to break them. So this is definitely, aside from, you know, Terminal Velocity, the shortest world. It might actually be short. No, it is shorter than Terminal Velocity, because boss fight takes a while. So here we have the first boss. I have to hit him in the eye 3 times. Unless I use the laser does more damage, which means I only have to hit him 2 times. And that's already the boss done. And then the rest of the boss fight, he just does his death animation, gives me a bunch of rings. Takes a while, you know. Alright, we're at 9 lives as well. It's pretty good. So the nice thing about Act Shuttle is that it just goes through every single stage, no hop world movement, stuff like that, no cutscene. No cutscene, only fast. Right. So here I'm gonna go out of my way to pick up this particular laser wisp. It's actually slower to go there, but using that laser wisp I can try and do another trick right here. It's gonna be another 3D and 2D glitch. Hopefully I can get it. Alright, made it past the trigger. Now I just have to make sure I jump around the walls. I can use the springs to realign myself with the 2D section. Then I'm gonna ruin this guy's day by stomping on his head, because he has boost that I need. Grab another laser right here for later, and then completely miss the platform that I was supposed to use. Oh well. Let's try that again. Kind of hard to get to that particular platform because I actually cannot see for the first little bit of it because the stage is in the way. This is one of the newer 3D and 2D glitches. It is pretty tricky, but it's also really cool. And of course we're gonna go for it again because it's really cool. I like doing it. Really, that's the reason I took the death. I just wanted to do it again. I really like it. There we go, made it to the platform this time. Now, that particular trick can actually act quite weird, as in it can completely lock you out of using your ground boost. Fortunately, this time it didn't happen, but it can happen, and it's weird, and I don't get it. But yeah, how dare those devs put the stage in the way of where I want to see? How dare they? Alright. Now Act 2 of Sweet Mountain also has a skip. Sweet Mountain is fortunately quite heavy on the skips. Honestly, this game has gotten really heavy on the skips. But this one is not necessarily going to be a 3D and 2D, but rather taking advantage of a part where the rail has to be in 3D in order to properly take you where you need to go. So I'm gonna try and jump at the right time. There we go, skip the trigger that would lock me to the rail. And then I was slightly too late with trying to jump to the background. Skip saves about 12 seconds, so I can just go through the stage normally now. That's not a problem. But yeah, there's a very specific time frame on that rail where it aligns perfectly with allowing you to land in the background that's behind it. Right. I reach for my split button.
No, you're supposed to reach for the stars.
I know. I'm
supposed
supposed to reach for the stars. Alrighty. Okay, I need to kill that robot. He has boost that I need. It's nothing personnel. Alright. This one doesn't have any really major skips, but it does introduce us to the Rocket Wisp. It does what rockets do best. It goes up.
Unless it's one of Elon.
Yeah, then they go sideways and then down. Alrighty. Now here I'm going to be using the drift feature, which is only active in certain areas, in order to get a very high jump and make it up to that spring. It skips that rail, saves like a couple seconds. It's quite nice. We will not those topics, don't worry. It was just a joke. It's only a joke. We shall not. Alrighty, so here we have Act 4, and this one also has a 3D and 2D, which is quite interesting because it's supposed to be an entirely 2D stage. However, it is two different 2D sections which are connected by a little bit of 3D in order to move you from one to the other. So we're going to take advantage of that, as well as the laser, to apparently completely miss the goal line. Huh. I could have sworn about that. Oh well, gives me more time to explain what's going on. So for starters, the reason I boost my head into the platform is to get over a trigger. It's a very high trigger there that would otherwise lock me to the loop. So like so. Then I use the loop to get a bit of extra height to jump up here. Grab the laser wisp on my way down. And then use the laser in combination with the loop in order to get enough height. And this time actually make it into the goal ring. That is still significantly faster than doing the stage normally. It is absolutely full of elevators. That is one of the biggest skips, just because you don't have to stand around waiting for the elevator to go up. It is great. So a funny thing about that particular skip is that normally you're not supposed to be able to aim the laser upwards in 3D, you're only supposed to be able to do that in 2D. So the way I actually aimed it upwards is by angling myself off of the loop. I essentially use the incline to aim myself upwards with the laser. Alright, let's see. I see we do have a donation, and since Santa is coughing his lungs out, get well soon, I will read it in a bit after the boss fight. Because, well, bosses take forever to die, so I will have time to read donations. I can be my own donation reader. Alright, so this is the stage where Spike likes to bully me. There are certain parts of the stage where Spike just kind of likes to either turn around or get stuck or not work. And also getting good jumps with Spike can be quite difficult, because you have to first press the A button in order to cancel the spin dash, and then press the A button again in order to actually do the jump. And you have to do that as fast as possible. I'm very bad at pressing the same button pass in a row. Mashing is not one of my skills. So that stage can be a bit tricky. Right, so here we have the boss fight of Sweet Mountain. I have to go through that ship segment, take a ship down, then he shows up and I have to homing attack him 3 times, or in this case, drill him once. Normally I would have to go through the entire, both of the phases 3 times, so 3 ships and 3 times homing attacking him. But because of the extra damage from the Wisp, I actually only have to go through this section twice. As for how you get the drill, it is hidden in a specific bullet. It's always the same bullet, so it is very consistent. And I will now read the donation from Eggman, who donated $5 saying, "Welcome to Sweet Mountain. Insulin will be provided at marginal extra cost." And by marginal, we mean enormous. Thank you, Eggman. Ha! Alright. On Starlight Carnival. This place is very pretty. It's also full of automated running sections. No hands. I also have to get rid of all of my boost, because the funny thing about automated running sections is they all work differently. For instance, for this one, they give you at least some amount of control back, and the fastest way to move here is actually air dashing. Not boosting, it is faster to air dash. And I only have access to the air dash when I don't have boost, which is why I got rid of all of them. Alright. Now, I'm gonna be attempting a little bit of a skip here. I'll explain it afterwards, I'll have plenty of time, don't worry. And there we go. Skipped exactly 20 seconds worth of ship and 2D section. We did it. Alright, so what I essentially did there is I had to avoid certain triggers. I have to make sure that I hit the trigger that spawned the path that I eventually jumped off, like the one near the red rings. But I did have to make sure that I avoided the second trigger that is there that would start the automated running and lock me to the path, leaving me unable to jump. So after I landed that, I also had to make sure that I didn't hit a trigger that would send me into the ship with the 2D section, which can also be quite tricky. And then, of course, I have to make sure that I know where the path that hasn't spawned yet that I have to land on is. Fortunately, there is like a very faint trail of rings that I can use as a visual cue, and that's fine. This particular auto-running section you can't speed up at all, just kind of make sure you don't get bodied by the robots. And that you get out of there with full boost, because we're gonna use that in the rest of this stage as well as the upcoming stages. That's the nice thing about Shuttle. Now, prepare for Best Wisp. This is my boy Q. He turns Q rings into Q blocks and vice versa. We will hopefully never see him again, because if we do see him again, that means I went super slow and had to go for a backup strat of the backup strat. But he's a very good boy. Very cube-shaped, very blue. Good boy. We stand Q. Why is it faster to air dash? It just is. It's just how that section happens to be programmed. I do not have a good answer, for I did not program it. Right. So that is Starlight Carnival Act 1, probably the longest of the Act 1s, simply because there's a lot of exposition in it. They really wanted to show off how good the graphics can be on a Wii, which is quite impressive. It also means that there's not a lot to do in the rest of the stage. Alright. Here we have another spike section. I actually had to make sure that I didn't do too many spin dashes. Spin dashing drains the spike leader faster, which means that I would not have enough to get to the end otherwise. But I did. We good. Alright. So here we have the Bouncy Stage, which is, for a lot of parts, essentially auto-scroller, because you kind of just have to wait on these bouncing platforms, but they do move faster when they're trying to chase you, so the longer I can avoid being on one, the better. When they're moving up, I have no choice. I just kind of have to bounce them. That's what we do. I do recommend stomping on them with caution. It goes right 99% of the time. The other 1% you stomp right through. It's only happened to me once, but it has made me paranoid about stomping on bounce pads for months. Alrighty. And then get over in the going. Right. Now we have another short stage full of very good platforming. This one is actually very technical. And I'm not even doing the fastest strats. Even with not the fastest strats, it's very technical. But it is very nice. So I can just barely beat that cycle there. And then here I have to make sure that I avoid these green orbs. Those green orbs actually have their own center of gravity. If you happen to actually get on them, even if you get damaged, if you land on them, you'll be stuck there. You can just kind of boost in the circle. Looks ridiculous. I love it. Right. Over here we have another auto running section. This one I can't really speed up. The only way I can lose time is if I just start spam stomp or something. But as long as I just kind of hold forward, nothing goes wrong. Same speed every time. Easy peasy. I missed one boost capsule. I do want full boost here, but fortunately there's a spare one in the upcoming diving section, where I hold B to dive faster. That's the gist with a lot of this game. You hold B to go faster. And then the actual gameplay begins. Now this stage is where we meet another little wisp friend. This is Hover. Hover unlocks Sonic Light Dash ability to dash along trails of rings. While he does that, the hover meter does not drain. So if I spam the Light Dash button, I can greatly extend the duration of the Hover Wisp and skip a good portion of the stage. I'll be doing that again coming up. So essentially every time I try to activate Light Dash, the game just halts the draining of the meter for a bit, because it assumes I'm going into a Light Dash even when there's no actual rings around. And if I mash hard enough, I can actually get up here. I do actually want to make sure I don't overmash either, because I want it to run out at the exact same time so that I don't spend too much time being in slow hover form. There we go, that was perfect. And spin it a little bit more, and then I can make it to the goal. Very nice. And then we have another stage featuring the hover, though I avoid using it for as much as I can. So the first bit we do with homing attacks. At the end I'm gonna bounce on enemy heads and stuff like that. And have it run out at the perfect time to land up there. Get a hover wisp just in case I fall down, but if all goes well, bounce on the set, do a wall jump, allowing me to reach these homing attack robots, and there we go. Good stage. Which already brings us to the boss of Starlight Carnival. Whew. Alrighty, so for the boss fight, I am going to be hitting him in the face 10 times, which is the maximum number of times that I can hit him. And this is going to make him drop a laser. And the laser does 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. 9 hits, and then for the 10th hit I use the laser, which does 16 hits worth of damage. So that is very worth. And then I am once again going to have him drop a laser, hopefully not in a too trolly of a spot. There we go. And then I can hit him on the side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Mess up my homing attack time a little bit. And I do have to hit him on the side because his center at that point is too damaged to still hit him 9 times. I can only hit him 6 times. And yeah, those 7 enemies, all the way back in Starlight Carnival 5, they are pretty tricky to do fast, but if you line yourself up correctly, you can just boost straight through them. Alright. Now, on to the 3 best worlds, Planet Wisp, Aquarium Park, and Asteroid Coaster. They are very cool, full of tricks. Let's see. You know what? It's a marathon, let's have fun. Let's go for the 3D and 2D. I haven't practiced it in months, doesn't matter, we're gonna do it. This is the hardest 3D and 2D that I am willing to do in a run. And even then, I'm not willing to go for it every time. And I could just also do the wrong inputs and then die. That also works.
Man, I thought you were going to try to have a lot of lives by the end of the game. What the heck, man?
You're right. Well, don't worry. If it's not enough, I'll add some lives. That's fine. Alright. Alright, let's go for it once. Alright, hit the booster. Didn't get it. Oh well. Even the breakout is already pretty tricky. So instead, we're just gonna use our boy Spike to go on walls and ceilings and everything will be very nice. I feel a little bit down because I'm missing a skip. The game is gonna make me feel better about myself. Thank you, game. There we go. Don't have to worry about the fact that I lost a lot of that boost. It's nice to have, but I am going to be getting a full boost meter in Act 3 of this world anyway, and I only need so much in Act 2. So we're going to be A-okay. Like even now I'm already basically up to full because of that section. And I'm using spikes on the ceiling. I can go straight to the gold ring. Very nice. Alright. Act 2. And also the second stage with a skip. This one is kind of funky. I essentially have to phase through a wall by making it think I'm on another 2D layer. And then, there we go. If I do a homing attack at the right time on that robot, I can clip back in. The only way I can clip back in. Otherwise, I can proceed through the rest of the stage normally, but you know, then you're not saving time. Alrighty, very nice stage. Now that clip out was actually very, very inconsistent for a very long time because we didn't exactly know what triggered it. And as it turns out, you just kind of have to stomp in the right places to essentially hit the part where the 2D layers overlap, and then you have to stop boosting at the right point so that the robot that I almost hit pushes you onto this other layer. And that's how you phase through the wall. So over here I am going to sidestep, which allows me to bypass a trigger that would otherwise limit my speed. Thanks to that I can jump up here. Now I'm going to jump over these things that would otherwise have me use my laser. That way I can use my laser at the end here and skip the entire rest of the stage. That is also the point where we can now safely say we shall not see Cube for the rest of the run. So if I've fulfilled the strat and the backup strat on that stage, that's when I miss Cube. Alright. So yeah, once again, a pretty nice skip. Wisp is quite heavy on the skips. This one also technically has a bit of a skip. This one's really not all that difficult. You just kind of ricochet a laser off the wall. But it's cool that's possible. Saves a lot of time. Alright, so here I'm gonna boost forward slightly. Ricochet my laser off the wall in order to get up here. And there we go. Stage. Now, next one is really short. Even shorter than X Shuttle because I can take boost into the stage. Normally I would have to do a very short detour to a lower area in order to get boost. Here we just go over. Go fast. That was a very interesting homing attack. You're getting to see the other route as well. So yeah, we hit that guy on the face. We jump up there. Right. Even with the death, still a very short stage. And then we're on to Act 6, which once again has a pretty significant skip, so hopefully I can get multiple actually. And if you're really crazy, it can have even more. The stage is essentially full of tech. Right, so coming up, we're gonna have a nice little cinematic section where I'm gonna jump off a rail, try and get as much height as possible, and then boost into the upcoming 2D section to skip as much of it as possible. There is an invisible wall that I have to avoid, otherwise I just lose all of it, all of my speed, and then I cry. But there we go, that is essentially as good as it can go. Then we take this particular Spike Wisp over to the last section. Now the last section, for anyone familiar with the game, is particularly slow, because you have to climb all the way up there, or use Spike Wisp in order to bypass the entirety of it. I also specifically got rid of the boost, because that allows me to do a nicer setup for this boss. You may recognize him from Tropical Resort 1, he's gonna be gone even faster this time. Boop. And that's him gone. I actually only have 1 frame to damage him before he goes into an attack that makes him invulnerable after that first hit. But by being in spike form right in front of his face on that frame, it automatically does the damage. So, that is very nice. Now on to Aquarium Park. This is my favorite. Maybe Planet Wisp is my favorite. I don't know. They're both really good. I think Aquarium Park is my favorite. Anyway, we're not done with skips yet. This one also has a really cool 3D and 2D that I'm gonna go for. By using the laser here, we can go to the side of the building, land on a little strip of land just out of bounds. I'm technically out of bounds right now, trust me. Jump around the wall, into the 2D section, and now we have 3D and 2D physics. And we're just gonna weave and bob through the 2D section and skip all of it. Very nice. And there we go. Second one. Right. Do I still remember how to do this stage with boost? Probably not, but let's find out. Oh boy, I'm alive. I'm alive. Right. There we go. Nice short stage. Not the optimal boost strats, but I did save an extra additional seconds. It's always nice. Didn't quite get enough boost on Act 1 to carry a lot of boost into this stage, but yeah, a little bit of extra. Always nice. Okay. Then I lose it by having that guy hit me in the face. Okay. This is one of the few parts where we actually do use underwater movement and do not use the drill for it. Normally in the underwater sections you use drills to go a lot faster, but in this particular one we have no access to it, so slow underwater movement. We are going to be using underwater movement more, but that is usually in order to break the game. Because you're only supposed to have water movement while you're in 2D, and there's ways to get it while you're in 3D. Which makes you go everywhere, because you have essentially an infinite jump underwater. Right, now let's see if I can nail my stomps to get these drill wisps. Very nice. Hit that fish in order to get a little bit of extra boost. Ooh, I've been nailing these songs. Very nice. And then over at the end, I'm going to be using a laser wisp to once again break out of bounds. There's supposed to be a very slow chase sequence, but I can skip the vast majority of it and not actually have the chasing robot spawn. So let's see if I can get it. It's one of the newer discoveries in the game. Alright, very nice. Actually clung onto the wall for a little bit there in order to make sure I'm properly aligned with where I need to be, because you can get swung all around in this and most likely die. Alright, very good. And that allows you to go a lot faster than you normally would here, because your movement speed is very much locked during the chase sequence. Right, so this is scary. I didn't get rid of enough boost. And there's a section coming up that I really don't want boost on, so... I'm just gonna be safe and get rid of my boost. This platforming section is really nice, but it is really scary with boost. So yeah, we tried to stay ahead of that spring for as much as we can in order to make the spring move faster. And then coming up, we have a section where I'm just gonna shut up and enjoy the music, because we are gonna be bouncing on spring for a while. And the music here is really good. There we go. And that brings us to Act 6 of Aquarium Park already. Let's see, we're at 34 lives. Not too bad. Right, so I want full boost after this particular drill segment. So I managed to hit all of the underwater fishy reefs, as opposed to above water fishies that carry boost in them, which have a nice full meter. And the skip at the end of this particular stage is going to be a very good example of what you can do with underwater physics when you happen to maintain your 3D rather than being in 2D. First, a particularly scary platforming section. Make sure I grab the hover wisp on the way because I need it to break out of bounds. Then I'm going to be skipping a very slow fight room by just kind of boosting over it after I get on a fight with the hover. I do have to make sure that I properly align myself with the center of the building, otherwise I will not be hitting the 2D section coming up. 2D section is very thin. And land in the water. And there we go. I have underwater 3D physics. And can go wherever I want until I drown. Alright, now we have the Sweet Mountain boss version 2.0, this time he's underwater. Similar thing, I'm going to be breaking these torpedoes in order to get a drill wisp, so that I only have to do 2 phases instead of 3. They're always in the same torpedo, and the only thing I have to make sure of is that they break on something that is not the final capsule or Sonic's face. So if I break it on literally anything else, I get the drill wisp, and if not, no dice. Sorry, mate. So the reason underwater 3D physics exists to begin with is because it's not exactly physics. You have the same physics, the 3D set, except you get kind of a move set on top of that, which is the infinite jump, as well as the breath meter, of course, as well as the water. It just kind of combines it with the 2D physics set that already exists. And if we're 3D, it combines it with the 3D physics set that we already have. So they didn't specifically code 3D underwater. It's just a nice combination of movesets and physics sets. Anyway, that was Aquarium Park. Now we're going on to Asteroid Coaster, which is pretty damn cool. And also has some of the hardest tricks in the run, but they're really fun, so it's all good. But yeah, many a run has died in this world. Of course, the roller coasters themselves are essentially autoscrollers. Just kind of wait until they get you where you need to go. I'm going to skip another roller coaster as well as a section with the new Wisp that we're instead going to be meeting for the first time next stage, the Frenzy Wisp, as well as a short 2D section, just by jumping over the wall and boosting to the next section. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go around the 2D trigger here once again, because we have not been doing that enough. And that is actually a very scary section to do in 3D. Because not only do you have to make sure you maintain alignment with the 2D section, you also have to deal with the fact that the gravity shifts. It's very scary. Well, speaking of very scary, that is a very scary thought. We're modding this to have the pre-redesigned Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So. Whew. Anyway, here's Frenzy. It goes under Frenzy. It also has an attack where it gets a whole bunch of momentum. Alright, I need slightly more height because you can only hit the top rings for homing attacks. So yeah, I essentially have to do the Frenzy attack just as it hits out so that I get all of that momentum for Sonic instead. There we go. It's very weird that you can only hit the top springs for your homing attack there, but that's just kind of how it is. Alright, now I have to manage my boosts very carefully, because I have exactly enough boost to do what I want to do. The bottom springs don't work because the bottom springs don't work. Oh, they just don't. And now it's time for breaking out once again. And this time I'm gonna land on something while upside down and just kind of let the switching gravity take me away all the way to the goal ring. Hello. Very nice. That is one of the biggest run killers right there. Very difficult skip, but very cool. Now we have the shortest stage. Followed by the most monotonous stage. I'm gonna go run in circles. I essentially just have to hug the inside in order to go as fast as possible and keep jumping because you happen to be moving faster for this particular auto-running section when you're in the air. And do that until about the 22-23 seconds mark where I move outside in order to hit a switch. That switch will spawn the goal ring. And there we go. Alrighty. And then if I use this final laser just at the right time, I hit all of the robots in one laser on the goal ring. That goal ring doesn't spawn until you destroy every robot in the area, but laser has a pretty high range. Now, for a skip that is only possible in X Shuttle because you need boost at the start of the stage to do it. It is called the Croconox Special, Supersonic Speed. He's never successfully done it, but we love him anyway. Because he loves to fail it by shouting Supersonic Speed. Love you, Frog. You saw him earlier running Sonic Generations. Very good boy. Alrighty. And for a change of pace, we're gonna not do the stage normally, because why would we? Instead, we are once again going to be breaking out of bounds and getting a 3D and 2D. This is once again going to be a place where we use 3D underwater physics. Which is particularly interesting to get in this one. We're essentially going to be using the momentum from these pogos to clip through the wall. Now we are out of bounds in 2D with underwater physics. And then I can just barely hit a section there where I can get my 3D physics back. And I should be able to just barely make it to the goal ring with this. There we go. And that skips the entire rest of the stage, as well as a mini-boss. Alright. So, this one is actually surprisingly different than the Starlight Carnival boss. I'm only going to hit him 6 times, because that will make him spawn the rocket's power. What the game expected you to do is to use it to kind of cancel out the upcoming 2D section and go straight back into a 3D section where you can do more damage. Instead, I'm going to specifically get him into the 2D section and use this rocket as well as a nice stomp in order to completely... Oh my goodness. In order to completely press the wrong button. And yeah. Not get the strat. If I got him before he got out of the portal, then I would have been able to do a really cool strat where he just kind of bodied himself. It still worked! I should have just bluffed. I should have bluffed and pretended that it didn't work. I have never done it like this without the portal before.
I didn't know it would still work that way.
Me neither. But yeah, if you... Nice. We learned something today. Very educational. Right. So if I use the rocket on him and then stomp, I hit part of the inside of his hitbox, game doesn't expect it, kinda puts it into a weird state where he can body himself on his own spike balls. Very cool. Saved it after pressing the wrong button like a dummy. Alright, so this is pretty much entirely auto-scroller, with the exception of the last bits where there's a bit of a chase sequence where I do try to keep my boost speed for as much as possible by hopping a bunch. These guys at the moment don't pose a particular danger, I'll be honest. So we're just kind of going to get full boost until we get to the end section, and but the only thing that matters is going to come in. In order to make sure that the section matters even less than normal, as long as you don't move, these moto bugs are completely passive. You can just sit here, sip on your water, which I needed because this game does not have as much downtime as I probably would have liked, and there's a lot to explain. A lot of words to say. But these motobugs are very respectful. Very good boys. You love to see it. Right. So, we're gonna boost to get away from him. He's gonna be doing lasers. And I am going to be doing short hops in order to maintain my boost speed for as long as possible and hope he doesn't make me move lanes. He's been doing exactly that. What a jerk. He's been making me do the longest movement possible. Consistently. What a jerk. Oh. I got hit. Now I just need to make sure that I maintain enough boost to actually get to the end. By killing enough motobugs, which fortunately drop more boost. Alright, we made it. Whew. Right. Boss fight time. Over here we have our boy Eggman in his nice machine. So what's gonna happen is he's gonna do the cube attack, then I'm gonna homing attack him in the face, gonna do some extra damage by boosting at him. Then he is going to be doing either a spike attack or a laser attack. They're both really fast. We want to see laser because it allows for the optimal pattern. Instead we get spike. Oh well, no big deal. Now, after this he is going to go behind me, where he is going to be doing some, like not one but two attacks. We want to see the singular, well, elements, let's call it, the singular wisp attacks. If he starts combining them, that is the slowest versions. Like Cube Laser, because he has to place the cubes, he has to do the laser has to do its thing. It's all very slow. But we did get a laser as the second one, which is the fastest attack, which is very nice. Laser is actually optimal to get as the second attack there, because he actually becomes attackable faster afterwards than he would if he was to, for instance, do a spike. Robot did nothing wrong. I'm sorry, DLs. I'm sorry. I have to do this to you again. So it is nice to see you. If anyone has watched not the past HGDQ, but the HGDQ before that in 2020, DLs was the Eggman cosplay that was sitting behind the entire Sonic block. And getting very sad when I beat Eggman.
Unlimited color, laser, drill, spike, rocket,
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. There we go. That is the boss. And there we go. We have one more stage. Not actually time yet, but we're getting there. I have exactly 50 lives. I believe I died like 5 times, so I'm just gonna go ahead and count those 5 as well. So let's say finish around at 55. Whether you want to put it at 50 or at the 55 that I'm making it, all to you. Assuming any of you joining me in the donation incentive. If not, all good. All up to you. And there we go. 130. And that was overall a pretty nice run of Sonic Colors. Hope you enjoyed. Got anything fun or silly to show you? Other than my face? Sure. I'm going to be showing something that is not shown off very much at all. We are gonna go to Gameland, which are bonus stages which you need to get in order to unlock Supersonic. You get them by collecting the red rings in stages. And the nice thing about the Sonic sim is that you actually, we don't want max speed, is that you get a second Sonic that you can switch to. Which allows for a pretty cool glitch that is not used in any other section of the game, because, well, you don't have a second Sonic. Also, let me do the math on how much I owe. It's 55.
2750.
2750, thank you. I have used up all of my ability to think by working an 8-hour day, so
Okay.
thank you. I love you. Thanks for doing math for me.
You call me Calculator-san for a reason.
Thank you, Calculator-san.
Beep boop.
Beep boop. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a wall jump, and then I'm going to switch Sonics and jump back onto the wall and do infinite wall jumps off of the same wall. Now, the actual timing for that is incredibly precise, because you also have a cooldown until you can switch again. And there we go. You can actually get all the way up there. And yes, that is actually faster than doing it normally. I believe it's actually this wall I'm supposed to do it on, but there you go. You've seen the trick. Yeah, that is also the only stage in which it is useful, but it is a nice little trick that you don't get to see very often. So yeah. That is it for Sonic Colors. I think that's about all I can show off as bonus. Yeah, it wasn't the first one, but that's fine. I showed off the trick. I showed off that you can actually gain height with it if you do it well enough. Very nice. And next up we have Xana with Asura's Wrath, which is a lot of hours of angry man. Very angry. Thanks for watching, everybody.